First of all, what's the name? It's Nerdgas?
Nerdgas Podcast.
I should write that down. Podcast.
Yep. Lots of hot air. What did I say? Nothing, not much of substance, and sometimes an accidental thing you might learn or whatever. I forgot what I said.
So basically, the genesis of this was we're all sitting around having beers and we're geeking out, and I was just like, you know what we should make, because like I like podcasts, like when because I have a lot of like alone time where I'm all by myself. And so like I'll put on a podcast while working, and like there's no like pure just nerd about anything podcast that I could really get into that's out there. So I was like, dude, guys, we should make a nerd podcast. And here we are.
Yeah, and the construction people in the other side of the window too.
Yeah, so today we have no plan for this episode. We're just gonna start. But as we're doing this, there's people that are washing the building, literally washing the building.
And here I am like turning off my phone, and it's like,
put it on theater mode, dude. I put my Apple Watch on theater mode or whatever it is.
You have it upside down.
Mine's always in theater mode.
It's upside down because this is my third Apple Watch. And it's because my workout gloves like dig into this what is this called, the crown or whatever,
Yeah.
and they all break.
The digital crown.
Whatever. So like once I flipped it, it's lasted so long. It's great. I love my Apple Watch.
Mine died, and now I sold my soul to China. Got the
Isn't this also China?
I mean, no, but
It's designed in California.
Yeah, but this is designed in China, and all the data goes to China.
First of all, can we start with our names? Mike, you want to start with your self-introduction?
Do we have to do full names or just our first names?
Whatever you want to do. I mean, I'll just go with my first name.
All right, I'm Mike. I don't know what would be interesting about me from America. Been in Japan for almost 15 years now. In fact, what date is it today? The 11th? 12th?
The 12th.
Tomorrow.
Oh shit!
Is my 15th Japanniversary.
Wait, are we not cussing? Is this a clean podcast? What do we do? Are we cussing?
Well, that's what I was thinking we were going to talk about before we even started. Is like, are we going to be like, PG-13, R-rated, offensive to most Christian nationalists? I don't really give a shit either way. So.
Well, we're already cussing, so I'll be honest with you. I don't think Carl has a filter.
so why are we discussing it then? We just already know.
We don't need a bleep button. I don't want to edit that. Mike, where are you from? You're from?
So Western New York.
Western New York.
So deep in the snow pile. Been here, like I said, for 15 years. Don't miss the snow at all.
We got snow on Sunday. It was great.
Saturday, actually.
Was it Saturday? I don't remember. I slept until 7 p.m.
We got our one day of snow a year.
My wife and I had to go out to Inazako to our father-in-law's house.
Yeah.
And there was probably about maybe 10, 11 centimeters of snow on the ground.
On the road?
Not on the road, on the ground. The road was completely just clear. It was wet, but it was clear. But everywhere else was like just covered with snow. And I just was really happy that we didn't have to drive on it, but they had closed the highway between the Takaoka Tunnel and the off-ramp there. It's like everything was annoying.
Yeah, like I woke up and I looked outside, I took a little video of it, posted on Instagram, went back to sleep, and woke up at 7 p.m. I was like, fuck this.
That's usually the best way to handle a snowy day.
No, I set my alarm at 7 a.m. I woke up because look, it's snowing outside, and we had a snow day. We went to like a park up on the top of a hill. I went sledding full speed. It was
we don't have kids. You have kids.
If I didn't have kids, I would want to go sledding, so dude.
My kids are grown up, so
you have
I don't
kids.
have to worry about that.
You don't have live-in kids. I should say that, Mike. You have kids, but you don't have living kids.
Well, they're not dead.
No, I mean live-in kids.
Live-in kids.
Not living. Living. No.
Jesus Christ.
I was like, for a moment there, I was like,
this podcast got really dark
very quickly.
This podcast is about losing your children.
Oh my God, no, it's not. So adult kids, kids, no kids. So
everyone's your child in some way.
Hey, we're not going to get into how much of my private life are we going to get into? Let's leave that alone. Again, we're going to have a happy podcast about nerd stuff.
That's a discussion that's best reserved for the after
dark.
After dark.
I if this keeps going, one of my goals is to do this like in an izakaya, Japanese pub, like over beers.
Why not?
Exactly, why not? All right, so Mike, from America, you've been living here for 15 years. As of tomorrow,
that's congratulations. My 15-year trip anniversary. As far as my background goes,
he used to work at Radio Shack.
I was a sales associate and store manager. Wow. For 7 years, I worked at Radio Shack.
I love that fact about you.
Visited Tandy in headquarters in Fort Worth, Texas once for management training.
Does Radio Shack still exist?
Actually, it does, but it's not as a corporation like it used to because Tandy doesn't exist anymore.
What is Tandy?
Tandy Corporation was the
parent company?
The parent company that acquired Radio Shack. Radio Shack was originally like one of those catalog shops. You walk in, you open up this big thick catalog, and you go through and you find your parts and pieces that you need, potentiometers, resistors, whatever. And then some little guy would run in the back room and go through a whole bunch of boxes and find all your parts and bring them out to you. And Tandy was originally a leather company.
Okay.
What is it with leather companies and going into technology?
Is this a thing?
Because Nokia started out it was like boots and stuff too.
Mm-hmm. So there's
something about like
leather companies.
But for whatever it was, the Tandy Corporation decided the owner of Tandy decided to acquire Radio Shack and then expand it as this national chain of electronics stores.
That was in the 80s?
Actually, it was way earlier than that. It was acquired back in the 30s or 40s or something, and then it expanded gradually until about the 70s when it just kind of erupted into this massive chain.
Because there was a Radio Shack right next to my house. I used to go buy cables there.
Yeah, and there's different kinds of Radio Shacks. There was the franchise stores that were owned by independent resellers, and so they licensed the name, and they had to have certain specific signage, so they had to follow rules based on what the company wanted. But then they could pretty much stock anything they wanted. There was a certain amount of official Radio Shack product, but then they could do anything else. They could carry name brands that Radio Shack shops couldn't carry at the time.
Okay.
Now later on, most of those franchises got bought out by the main company. They were basically converted into company stores, and Radio Shack had its own in-shop brands like Realistic. What was Minimus? Because I love the Minimus 7 speakers we used to sell. Those things were phenomenal. They were small box speakers, but they were amazing sound. And then eventually they would carry Optimus brand, which I love the name just Optimus because I'm a huge Transformers fan. So, but the Optimus stereo systems, Optimus what was it, CD players, tape decks and whatnot. Eventually Radio Shack stopped rebranding stuff and then started selling Techniques and Pioneer. They would carry Sony. When Tandy did carry like their own computer lines for a long time, the TRS-80, and then they had the Tandy computers, and then eventually they dropped Tandy for AST because AST was building the computers. Yeah, that's it right there.
Oh,
that one.
Wow, that looks
that
modern.
one is actually that was a little different than the original Minimus 7s because they had the tweeter on the top, and I remember those things were great as like rear channel surround sound speakers.
People, this is like all over Reddit. People love this.
Yeah,
there's wooden ones, there's retro ones.
Yep, and there were some tower speakers too that we used to sell. I sold a ton of those because they were just we had this sample CD that had this amazing like frequency range test on it, and so I would have people like stand right in front. And of course, we had the Minimus 7s on the ceiling behind them, and we would just play that thing, crank it up. It was a guaranteed sale almost every time.
Do you remember the bass CDs from like the early 90s for people who like had like incredibly like expensive sound systems in their cars?
Oh God, the subwoofer systems in cars.
There's like Bass Max 3D 2000 or something like that. It's like,
we used to have those people driving around in my hometown all the time.
One of those people was my brother, older brother. So that's Mike. Carl, what's your deal? What is this?
I'm Carl. This is my E-Mate.
Jesus. It's an E-Mate 300.
There was never any other E-Mate.
I don't know if this is going to key properly. We're going to have to see later. I might have to like replace it.
Get some insert shots for it. So.
It's blue.
So Carl, you're from Sweden.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I was born in Sweden, and then we lived in the U.S. from when I was 6 months until I was like 10 years old.
That's why you speak English.
And then we moved back to Sweden. I mean, everyone in Sweden speaks English anyway.
Yeah, but the people... Okay, so Carl made this horror movie.
He speaks English like we speak
that
English.
That was high school.
Okay? Wait. Carl made
this... was barely into high school.
Carl made this horror movie. It's on YouTube. It's amazing. And it was like 20 something years ago. How many years ago was that? It's like 20 something years ago. And it's like a high school project. And anyway, everybody in the film is speaking English because you're all trying to be American. The only one that sounds American is you, though. The other kids are like obvious Swedes speaking English. You're the only like American accented one.
Yeah.
So what brought you to Japan other than, Japan stuff? Just be honest about it. We know the real story. We just want to hear you say it again.
So there's this TV show in Japan called Why Did You Come to Japan?
We have to get in there.
Yes, we do. So there's this TV show. It's called Why Did You Come to Japan? And what they do is they accost foreign people like in the airport. They're like, hey, why did you come to Japan? And like follow them around. Mm-hmm. So Carl was on this TV show. And why were you here the first time for that TV show?
That wasn't the first time.
The first time you just came here as like a tourist.
Yeah, the first time I came here was, the first time I came here was as a tourist.
And then eventually,
I had gotten my first like paycheck. I started doing like work online. I was still a student. I had started like doing work online, and I had gotten like a fat paycheck for like selling shareware back when that was still a thing.
Shareware. Hey, I paid for WinRAR.
And I was like, I'm gonna do a world tour. So like I had a friend in Boston, so first I went to visit him, and then from Boston we went to Japan, and then we went to Korea and Singapore, and then I flew back from Singapore to Sweden. So I made like a world like round trip.
But the place that stood out to you the most?
It was Japan. Because like when we went to Korea, I was like, I just want to go back to Japan. Why did we leave there?
Did you come here in the winter by chance, or was it summer?
No, it was summer.
Okay, Korea in the winter sucks. It's so cold. So then you came back because you got into Japanese music. We'll just leave it at that. We'll have like an entire episode on this at some point.
Yeah, a certain kind of Japanese music.
I blame the internet.
Entertainment.
The internet. So you came back because
I ran an internet radio station, which corrupted me.
So then Carl came back because he was a big fan of a certain type of Japanese music, and then he got put on TV.
Yeah.
And then you decided to come down to where we are in Kagoshima, and you were on Twitter, and you're like, hey, what is there to do in Kyushu or in Kagoshima? And that's how you met your wife.
Yeah. And then after that, long distance relationship, and then 10 years ago, 11 years ago, I moved here.
Our friendiversary was 10 years ago,
it was like 6 months
ago.
Half a year after I came here.
Yeah.
I don't even remember how you and I first met each other.
Yeah, I didn't even know that you guys were friends until he started talking about you independently. I was like, wait, you know Mike?
Yeah, because we're in the
Daniel,
group with
right?
Daniel and Connie and Andrew.
Yeah.
Connie is in the translator, Connie?
Yes.
I love her. She's great.
Connie.
Yeah, her husband's really cool too.
I haven't met him yet, but I've been impressed by the stories I've seen in her.
He's like super into radio. Like I used to have a radio show, and he was like, I listen to your radio show all the time. I was like, you listen to radio? I was like, who the hell listens to radio?
Aside from Oba-chans and Oji-sans.
Or people who are driving. But yeah, so you got married 10 years ago. Now you have 2 beautiful kids.
Yeah.
They're great.
And I live here. And I'm regressing to my past by just filling up my new house with old Macintosh computers.
Wait, what was okay, because I got you for your birthday 4 years ago. I got you your old computer from high school, a G4.
Yeah, like G4 Quicksilver 2002
specifically. That's a good machine
too.
It
was like mint. The peak.
Yeah,
I love those. I love that machine because when I to kind of give you a little more background, I also worked for an internet company in the same town where I was the manager at the Radio Shack store, and we did computer repairs, and me and another guy by the name of Dave, we were both like the Mac guys. Mm-hmm. And anytime somebody brought in a Mac G4 and especially the Quicksilver, I was like, oh, this is such a nice thing. I'm gonna just drag this repair out a little bit, because I just loved you just flip the switch up.
The first time I saw that,
everything's right there.
The old G4 is like they had a little switch on the side of the panel, and you would open it up, and it was just like the computer components were just right there on the door.
It's like everything. Like these days, like everyone's like retcons, like, oh, Steve Jobs, he hated anything you could open and repair, or anything that you could upgrade. But like Steve Jobs stood on stage with a Power Mac G3 when they introduced that case, like, look, you can open it up, and he just like open and close, like, look at this. And
Wasn't
it
like,
Steve Jobs was like so into computers
the
in this
II,
way.
They all signed the inside of it or whatever.
That was the first.
It was the Macintosh, the original Macintosh. Every member of the project signed the inside of the case. And I actually had one of the early 128, not 128. Was it 128? What was the first one? Was that 64 or is that 128?
128.
128.
Yeah.
So I had one of the early 128s, but a second revision. But it had all of the names on the inside, so I kept the screws out of the back of it. So just every so often, I could just pop the cover off, put a little flashlight along the side, and see all the names there.
That's so cool.
Like they like kept reusing the same mold for like all the classic Macs for like 10 years. So
But
like
they would wipe out certain names by changing some of the
they added a
case.
port here, and they had like had to remold that port. So like a couple names disappeared, and then like they had to they removed the battery cover, and then like that got remolded. So like parts of it just kept going away until like they
eventually they just dropped it entirely.
Yeah.
I think
But it was
when
like,
they did
the classic
classic
was
color
completely
Mac was
redesigned.
the new one. So, but in the same vein as that original Mac case, you guys know that I got the Commodore 64 Ultimate.
Yeah.
On the motherboard, every person who contributed to making that any technology that's used in the Commodore 64 Ultimate has their signature in gold on the motherboard.
Such a nice touch.
Can you, Mike? Can you explain what that is? The Commodore 64 Ultimate. Like this is a project that you were telling me about before it shipped.
Yeah, and I've been learning everything I can, going through the user's manual page by page now. So, growing up as a kid, one of my first computers at home was a Commodore VIC-20.
You're a 70s kid. 70s
yeah, I'm a
kid.
70s kid. I was born in 72.
Early 80s, late 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're like almost 3 generations.
Kind of, yeah.
Just about. But my dad was the one who decided to buy the VIC-20. He didn't know that we used Commodore PETs in school, but I think he bought it because William Shatner was on the box.
Oh. That's a good reason to buy something.
You can trust that guy.
He was either in Radio Shack commercials or he was hawking Commodore
By
products.
the way, isn't it amazing how he's like 90 something years
so,
old? Right?
Isn't it amazing that him and like Patrick Stewart basically look like they're the same age?
That's true. But anyways, we wound up. I wound up learning Commodore in school. We had a computer lab where we had Commodore 64s, 128s. We had a bunch of Apple IIs and whatnot. But that was my childhood, learning programming, basic programming on the Commodore. All my original Commodore stuff still back home in the States, and eventually I'm going to bring all of that over here at some point. But this company, Commodore, kind of collapsed in the late 90s after, they produced the Amiga computers, and then they started producing PC compatible machines, these desktop form factors, and then they just folded. The intellectual property has been kind of bought and torn apart by different other companies, and now this guy named Perry Fractic, who runs this Retro Recipes YouTube channel, was able to get a crowdfunding effort together to actually purchase the IP, all of it, that they need to produce new Commodore products.
This is recently, right?
Yeah, just like last year, literally
last year,
6 months from the day that they signed it, they started shipping Commodore 64 Ultimates.
You can get these online. They're like what, $400 or something like that?
I think the Ultimate is like $450. The Starlight Edition, which is a clear plastic case with LED lights that actually react to the SID music that's playing, is like $550, and then there's the Founders Edition, which is about $600 or $700. The Founders Edition is like a gold hue plastic case with gold keycaps, and then a gold badging and some extra stuff like a special certificate that honors you as one of the founding members of.
And it's not just an emulator, right? It's actual hardware from the original. Or something like that.
Yeah, it's not original hardware from the original computer, but what they do is the FPGA board that's designed by this guy named Gideon basically reconstructs the original hardware in hardware. So it basically is the same like cycle specific machinery as the original Commodore.
Yeah, FPGA stands for Field Programmable Gate Array. So it's basically a CPU, but you can program each transistor what it does. So you can like recreate the transistors of a different CPU in the CPU.
Okay.
They're like traditionally used to like for like audio and video. So you could do like real-time video effects, because like a CPU like goes instruction by instruction, which is too slow. So you can like program like a CPU to do everything in parallel,
like a GPU does.
Yep.
But like the GPUs weren't programmable before; they were like fixed functions. So at the time, these FPGAs were useful for that, and now you can use them for things like that.
Yeah, that's what makes it. That's what makes this one really interesting, is because not only can you have the machine out of the box running just like an original 64, you can also modify it in software to either have more memory, like to emulate the RAM expansion units you used to be able to buy and plug in the game ports, make the processor run faster. So if you're running anything like the GEOS desktop graphical user interface, you can make the system run faster, so it's not so bog slow like it used to be out of the box. And then you could do other things too, like you could drop in original SID chips. The SID stands for the Sound Integer Device. And in the Commodore, it was very unique because it had some of the best digital computer sound of any of the home computers in the 1980s.
At the time.
Yeah. In fact, one of the most famous composers of game music at the time, Martin Galway, had a Commodore 64 with a SID chip that had something little different with it, and it produced sound unlike anything else. And it was his special Commodore 64. And I think at some point he also soldered a second SID chip on it so he could get stereo sound. And each SID chip produced 4 voices. So if you had one SID chip, you had 4 voices. If you had 2, you had 8. And this Commodore 64 Ultimate now has 8 SID emulators in it. So you can have...
which you can turn on and off.
You're right. You can have 24 voices, or you can drop in 2 original SIDs and run off of those if you wanted to. So for a retro computer nerd or somebody who's wanting to re-experience their childhood like me, this thing is an absolute fucking dream.
I went down this crazy rabbit hole of MIDI renderers from the middle 90s.
Oh yeah, like videos on YouTube where they have 10 different sound cards.
They're completely different sounding. Like some sound great, and some sound like garbage.
Yep.
I didn't during the 90s. I had a computer obviously, but I didn't know I wasn't rich, so the computer I had was just the computer I had. I didn't know there's different types, the Sound Blaster cards and stuff like that. Yeah. I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah, when I was growing up, I think the computer sound was generated mostly by Moog.
Moog?
Have you ever heard of Moog synthesizers?
Synthesizers, yeah.
All right, you've seen the movie Tron?
Yes.
All right, all the music in the movie Tron was composed on Moog synthesizer.
Okay.
And the
were those
composer,
analog or were they digital?
They were analog. But in order to get the sound that you wanted to make, it was like this huge board that looked like a old style telephone board.
Switch, yeah.
So you'd be running cables and plugging into different outlets and running different potentiometers and changing the sound until you got the sound you liked. And then you had to run it into an analog tape recorder.
Right, you're not saving files and loading.
Right, there's
files.
No saving files.
It's real
then.
time.
Yeah, it was recorded as it was. And then it was each tape that you recorded would be sent to a sound engineer, and then he would do the mixing in the studio.
A sound engineer, yeah, those people existed before. Yeah, I was watching. Speaking of Tron, I was watching this documentary on YouTube about how Industrial Light and Magic was trying to convince George Lucas to go all digital for his effects in. I forget which movie it was, which Star Wars movie it was. It's maybe it was Empire Strikes Back or something like that. But Lucas, he said no. So then they ended up, this is right after Tron. So then they ended up making the movie The Last Starfighter. Is that the movie?
Mm-hmm. So it wasn't Industrial Light and Magic that had anything to do with The Last Starfighter.
Okay.
In fact, it was...
This is going to have a lot of the show.
We got the facts coming here.
You got to understand.
I don't remember facts that well.
The Last Starfighter is another one of those movies that I am a huge fan of. So I know the in and out details of this one.
Was it
They use it wasn't Silicon Graphics. They used a Cray computer.
Okay.
So the Cray computer was literally, it had to be in a room like this, and it was kind of in a sort of a semicircle shape, so you could actually stand in the middle. But some of the programmers said you didn't know if you wanted to stand there too long, otherwise you didn't know if you're going to have kids later on. And it was like a bench around the outside of it, so sometimes they'd go there and lay down and get some sleep. The digital effects for that movie were actually rendered so good, but too high for the technology at the time. So what we see on the movie is actually not as good as what they could have done if they had more power. But they didn't know if they could get it done in time.
I see.
So what was it? I can't think of the name of the company that did the actual rendering. They almost lost it to an actual model effects company, not ILM, but somebody else, who said they could do it cheaper and faster and get all the shots done for them in time. But they're just like, no, we've gotten so far along in this, we're not dropping this yet.
Yeah.
So that actually was done without George Lucas or Industrial Light and Magic, which is amazing to think about. There is rumor that there might be another movie coming.
A sequel to that, or a remake,
the next Starfighter, or the last Starfighter Returns, or something. Well, I mean,
they remade Tron, they made a sequel to Tron. So
they made a couple sequels. Yeah. They also made an animated series
to Tron.
Yes, and a couple of video games. So Tron 3 was actually originally a video game, but it has nothing to do with the movies that are out now.
I haven't seen 3 yet. I've only seen 1 and 2. But yeah, so anyways, the reason why I brought that up is because I'm so glad that like TNG, Next Generation, and old Star Wars use models, because one of my big like, I always want to recommend Babylon 5 to people. Mm-hmm. Like, please watch this show. It's so good. But the graphics are so garbage. And
they're not great, but they don't hold up as well as I think, because what happened is
they were all made on Amiga, right?
Yeah, Amiga, right?
Well, yeah. They were some were made on Amigas, some were rendered on IBM PCs, because they used Lightwave and they used Video Toaster. But what happened was not the production itself; it was after production. They filmed the assets in 16:9 because they knew eventually that was going to go there. Television was going to move to 16:9. And in order to broadcast it on television, they overshot the border so they could crop it to 3:9. And then instead of going back to the original assets to go to 16:9, when they produced the DVDs or the videotapes, they actually cropped that cropping. Oh, and so everything's been kind of cropped even smaller than it was originally intended to be, and sometimes stretched.
I hate this stuff.
And then I don't even want to get into the story about the company Digital Eye getting kicked out by the producer, and then him stealing all the assets and them not knowing how to run them. So you have in the last 2 seasons, ships being the wrong sizes and things looking really out of whack. It got worse in the last couple of seasons because of Doug Netter. But yeah, this show could have looked so much better if the production company hadn't have screwed up the cropping and the whatnot for the later broadcasts.
If I had Bezos money, I would totally just like self-fund like a TNG restoration project for that. That show is so good.
There's a guy.
Billionaire's so boring.
There's a guy.
They don't do anything fun at all.
No, there is a guy.
Like, there's so many small projects, like they cost like $100 million, but they would be so much fun to do.
Well, I mean, Bezos did bring back The Expanse for its final season, so that's good, I guess.
He also funded the worst movie ever.
Oh no, it's the best movie. What are you talking about?
I mean, on the tomato meter, it's either the best or the worst movie.
It depends on which bots you paid to go see it. There's a guy who's actually collecting the original digital assets for Babylon 5.
Okay.
And he's
in YouTube, contact. Like someone found like an old Amiga with a hard drive intact.
They found not just a hard drive, they found several hard drives. They've also got discs and data files from original production members that they've received so that they could recreate those original renders and actually make them better. And he's creating...
Lightwave still exists.
Yeah, he
so
does.
You convert the files up through the version.
He's re-rendering entire scenes from the show with those assets.
That's crazy.
In HD resolution, like 4K. And it looks freaking amazing.
Have you seen that like one small like scene from Deep Space Nine that they like in the documentary, like the things they left behind, I think is the title of it. They re-rendered one of their like space battles in like 1080p, and it's so fucking good. Have you seen this?
I don't think I've seen it. No.
This documentary was trying to get them to redo DS9 like they did for TNG and like rescan the film and everything, but like. The TNG made no money from that project, so like they didn't do it for DS9. But anyway, they re-rendered one of the what was it called? What were the bad guys in DS9? The bad guys.
Oh, the
brain farts. Odo.
Dominion.
The Dominion.
We'll edit that out. It's fine.
It's fine. We'll
I had to
just
think
leave
of
it there.
sugar. Dominion sugar.
So they have this Dominion battle with the Defiant like flying in and out and shooting and stuff. And so they re-rendered all of that in like stunning HD, and it's beautiful. Like I'm like, please do this for the rest of the show because I love TNG, but DS9 was just like so much more dramatic, and their battles were better too. But yeah.
So interesting you'd bring up DS9 after we just talked about Babylon 5 because
Those
there was
two.
always a fight about who copied who. And actually they were completely developed
Didn't one of the
without knowledge of
showrunners
each other.
Didn't one of the showrunners leave DS9 to go make Babylon 5 or something like that? Something like that happened?
No, there was writers that were common between the two, but they didn't have anything to do with one creating the other. Babylon 5 was entirely the creation of J. Michael Straczynski. And of course, DS9 was the creation of was the guy the prodigal son of
the big showrunner guy.
I forgot his name. I want to say Richard something, but I know that's not right.
I think I'm going to need my computer on this desk from now on.
We're gonna need our laptops, I think.
Well, I don't have a Wi-Fi card.
Just so I can show off what I've got
Berman
stuck on.
and Michael
Rick Berman.
Oh,
That's it.
yeah.
Yeah, Rick Berman, I think, was the guy who spearheaded the idea behind DS9.
Which was the idea for that was just like, let's do Wild West on the frontier, you know, with the sheriff. It was like the whole idea. So Cisco's the sheriff, you know.
And you had what's his name, the O'Brien from Next Gen, and later on Worf
came over, yeah.
became sort of like the connective thread between DS9 and Next Gen. I never really finished DS9 though. I got about 3 seasons into it and I just sort of lost interest.
You gotta watch it, dude. Okay, the
I
opening scene.
know that there's a lot that happens later on.
Opening season, Q visits DS9 and he like puts Cisco in a boxing ring and they're like pretending to box, and Cisco punches Q in the face and he said Picard would never punch me, and he goes, I'm not Picard, and punches him again. It's so great. I love that show.
I did like the guy who played Commander Cisco.
Yeah.
It was a Commander Cisco, right?
Captain, if he's on
Benjamin
the Defiant.
Cisco.
Yeah.
I know this is unrelated, but there's a series that was on Discovery Channel called Walking with Dinosaurs. Did you ever hear about that?
Yeah, that was like when CG started getting like
CG
really
dinosaurs,
big. Yeah.
And he narrated that, and it's my favorite like dinosaur documentary ever. Mm-hmm. And most of the effects are like so good even today.
Yeah, because they mixed real footage with dinosaur.
Well, yeah, I mean they literally moved like trees and
Yeah.
branches, and they splashed things to make it mix with the effects.
I thought you
better.
meant they had real footage of dinosaurs. I think
No, I mean you can.
Well, chickens. But that's
chickens
different.
and alligator.
birds.
Carl, you were into Voyager, right?
Yeah, I'm not. That's my generation, I guess.
Voyager.
Yeah.
Wait. Let me.
This is why the millennials
let's
turned out
just
so
say
bad. We grew up
my
with
generation,
Voyager.
My generation was definitely Star Trek: The Next Generation.
TNG. Me too. I'm TNG.
And then Voyager and DS9 are you guys'.
And then unfortunately Enterprise, which killed the series for a while.
I
liked
never watched Enterprise.
They really like screwed, like they had such a great concept and then they just like threw it away like right away. Like they had all these like they start out with like before people didn't want to go in transporters because it was like kind of scary, and then like within like 3 episodes like, oh, we're just taking transporters everywhere.
It doesn't
like,
matter. Yeah.
They had these great like we could like go back to basics and we can like do it, and then like they just went back to the formula right away.
They went back to the formula. They tried to like put sex on the screen all too much, and then on top of that, like they had the temporal war that they tried to like have for their last season, which was a really good idea, but then it just kind of didn't really go anywhere.
Implementation failed.
Yeah.
It's too bad. What was his name? The engineer? Chip? What's Trip? I liked him. I didn't necessarily like the security guy with the British accent. I can't remember his character name, but I really like him. They have a good podcast though.
I have no idea who the characters are. I've completely forgotten. I just know that the guy from the captain of the ship was Quantum Leap.
Quantum Leap.
Yeah.
In Battlestar Galactica, how good was it that Quantum Leap's, what was the name of the computer guy that would always talk to him?
Oh, not Sam. Was it
Sam?
Sam?
It was
No.
Sam or something like that.
Al.
Right.
Al?
The
Was it Al?
character's name was Al.
Al's a Cylon in Battlestar Galactica,
Yeah.
which is so good.
Was it everybody a Cylon at the end? I don't know.
Yeah, it was kind of dumb, but in Atmo FTL, Faster Than Light Travel, that was the best scene in that whole fucking series. You never watched Battlestar Galactica, did you?
No, never. Like
I watched.
It was on TV, and I'd flip, and I'd watch like 5 minutes, and I was like, "Let's go on."
Did you know that the tagline at the end, where it's like, "And they have a plan," is like they just like randomly put that in the first episode, but they didn't actually have a plan.
No,
They're like the Cylons. The Cylons are there's like 12 models or whatever, and they have a plan, but there actually was no plan. They didn't know where they were going with the show at all.
no, they were pretty much doing it by like monthly. Like we're gonna do this month, and then okay, we got that far. Now let's do this month. I've watched the miniseries of Battlestar Galactica, and I think I watched like the first season.
I watched the entire thing.
And
As it came out on TV.
What was it? Pegasus.
Pegasus, yeah.
I saw that, a little bit of that, and then some of the
With
the
a Xena
clips from the
warrior
rest of it.
princess.
She's
the
awesome.
captain. Yeah, she's great. She's
I love,
captain.
I love her character.
Yeah. But like with Battlestar Galactica, it was all great until the end. The same thing with Lost. They just didn't have a fucking plan for the end of it. And so you get to the end, and Starbucks character, the ending of that is just dumb. I'm just like, what? It's like angels, basically. That's the plot of both Lost and Battlestar Galactica. God and angels.
I think that's why I liked Babylon 5 a little bit better, because Straczynski actually had written out a 5-year plan for the show. And they were well on their way of actually achieving that for the first time in television history.
Yeah.
And every year was supposed to be like a new book of a novel series. So you could say season 1 is one entire novel, and everything's a chapter in a novel. But then what was it? I forget which broadcasting company they were with, kind of said, well, you know what? You're not going to get a 5th season. You got to wrap it up in season 4. And so they had to scramble to cram everything that was originally going to happen in season 5 into season 4. And then TBS picked them up for the final 5th season. And it's like,
so they finished everything, and then they have this extra season. And they're like, let's fill it.
Yeah. So the season 5 is not as good as the previous 3 seasons as far as story content goes. But the very last episode was filmed for the very end of season 4,
but they didn't air it.
They pushed it to the end of season 5 because that's where it's supposed to be.
It's also kind of confusing because you get there and you're like, what is going on? It's kind of confusing. But yeah, Babylon 5 was good until the last season, and then DS9 was the same. They had this extra season that they didn't need, that they just rammed in there.
There's a history of that with television shows. Like I used to love Night Court. It was one of my favorite comedy sitcoms. Court? And they had 13 seasons, I think.
Okay.
And they could have finished at 10. They really could have. The last couple of seasons were unnecessary. That very last season was very unnecessary. And now they've revived it as a new series with the daughter of Harry Stone.
Okay.
Night Court is supposed to take place in arraignment court in New York City at night.
Okay.
That's the name. But during Night Court, it's where all the weird characters of New York City come into full frame. The defendants, the prosecutors, the defense attorney, basically every character has some weird quirk about them. And it's so funny to watch. If you get a chance to sit down and watch some of the original episodes.
Not the new one, because there's a new one from 2023.
Not the new one. I'm talking about the original one from like 1982 or 83. Harry Anderson, who was a stand-up comedian and magician, was the main character, Harry Stone. He was the judge.
A judge.
John Larroquette played the prosecuting attorney, the assistant DA. And he was kind of like a womanizer, kind of loser guy. But his antics always got him into trouble. It was hilarious. The defense attorneys changed over the first couple of seasons, but then they settled on Marky Post to play the character of Christine Sullivan. And through most of the seasons, there was like this romantic thing between her and Harry, but it was sort of an unrequited thing. And then you had the bailiffs. There was one bailiff who was on the show for the entire run, and that was played by Richard Mull. His name was Bull. He was very tall and bald. And his very first scene, he's standing in front of the lamps in the courtroom that looked like antlers with giant bulbs on them. And Larroquette goes, "Don't listen to what anyone else says. On you, they look good." And there's these one-liners and skits and jokes and little mini stories that take place throughout every episode. It's a really good comedy. I think it was the peak of NBC's sitcom glory days.
I was looking at this meme the other day of all the sitcom dads from like the 80s and 90s and their age when they started the show. And I was just like, dude, these guys, I thought they were so much older than they actually were.
Yeah, they're quite
like,
young.
Bob Saget, when they started Full House, he was like 36, but he looks like he's like 45 years old. Like all of them look really a lot older than they are.
Yeah, I was really surprised to find out later on after, because I loved Full House. And Bob Saget's character always seemed like he was this straight man, clean cut.
Oh man,
really good guy.
Did you go to one of his stand-ups?
I watched one of his stand-up routines on YouTube, and oh my god, dude, that's definitely not going to be playing in a Baptist church. That's for sure.
I mean, at least he knew how to like start it off to like have you ever sucked dick for coke? Like just start off the set with that, and then it was like, okay, now everyone knows where we are.
Have you heard the story about who's the short person comedian? Brad
There's so
Williams?
many short ones.
They're all
Brad
short.
Williams. He's a little person. He's really funny. I
mean
love
an
his
actual
comedy shows.
little
He's a
person?
real little person. He tells this story about who's it? John Stamos
Okay.
is absolutely deathly scared of little people. There's actually a psychological condition. It's a real medical condition. When people see short people, they freak the fuck out.
I have so many stories of little people that we'll get to in some other episode.
So
After Dark episode.
Saget knew this.
Okay.
And so one day, I guess they were at one of Brad's shows or whatever, and Saget was there, and Stamos was in a dressing room in the back there, and he goes, you gotta come in and meet John Stamos. He goes, well, I don't know, you don't understand. He's scared the death of you. And so Brad relays the story about how Saget walks into the dressing room and goes, hey, how's it going? And I've got somebody that really wants to meet you. And then Brad comes running in and grabs a hold of his leg and starts humping his leg. And he goes, and people, I'm not joking, John Stamos, the coolest
guy.
of the cool in the 80s, screamed like a little bitch.
Dude, one of my students, by the way, hi, I'm Mitch, and I'm from Vegas.
That's right, we got to get to this story.
One of my students went
exactly
to
how it's supposed to go.
exactly, we're disorganized. Went to go meet John Stamos in Tokyo. So she's got this picture of her like holding his hand, and like they're like, it's like a meet and greet. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. He looks great. He still looks great. Let me tell my Bob Saget story. So I'm from Vegas, and I went to university in Vegas. So like me and my friends were going to the Rum Jungle at the Mandalay Bay, I think, and we were going into.
Hard to remember, right?
Yeah, there's so many different stupid names for clubs there that close all the time. Anyway, so we're in the VIP line because one of my friends works there, and he's getting us in for free. It just so happened that Bob Saget's party is in front of us. It's like Bob Saget and an entourage of like good-looking people. And so since we're all in the VIP line, the guard man mistakes me and my friend as part of their group.
Oh.
And so they gave us a wristband with a barcode on it, which equals you can drink and Bob Saget's paying for this. So we drank and Bob Saget paid for that. Thank you, Bob Saget. Rest in
peace. You didn't
peace.
think of him at the time, did you?
No, because we didn't know what this was.
And then before you leave, you pass it on to someone else.
No, we didn't do that.
I don't know if you could do that.
We
but
literally
that'd be
know because
cool.
we got in and then we were watching them in front of us because we're in the VIP lounge area above the dance floor, and we're just like watching them, and they're like getting drinks, and the bartender scanning it, and we're just like, oh shit. And at that point I think I was 21 or 22, so like I no values whatsoever. It's like, we're gonna drink a Bob Saget's wallet, let's do it.
You know what, I'm pretty sure if he found out, he would have been like, yeah, dude, go
whatever,
ahead,
yeah.
He wouldn't have given a shit.
Well, because we saw him stand up like the day before because he was in town for a stand up.
So he owed you anyway.
Well, you're like best friends then.
You were forced to watch his stand up.
No, that's what I was gonna say, Carl. Same thing. He came out and he didn't say he's sucking dick, but he's like, hell, everybody, this isn't fucking Full House. And we're like,
What were your
oh wow.
expectations now?
Yeah, no, it's like that's exactly what Carl said. It's like he just came out and he like was on blast, so you knew exactly what you were getting. It was great. But yeah, that's my Bob Saget story.
Okay, where were we?
I don't think we were going anywhere.
We just
Cray
meandered
computers,
completely off.
I don't know.
Yeah, we completely meandered off the road.
I think this is a good first episode. I think that we got our self-introductions in. We all live in Japan. We're nerds, and we're going to talk about stuff like this. Mm-hmm. More deep dives maybe later.
Yeah.
What have you accomplished with this with your?
I have my notes. It's like like ideas for
He's
things
on
to talk
Facebook.
about.
Oh yeah, I'm on Facebook.
Does this even have
I'm
a
on
webcam?
MySpace.
It's more
What?
like
Does this have a microphone or anything?
It has a microphone and a speaker. I don't know. Can you record? I've never tried
and a
recording audio.
stylus.
It has
And a
Who
stylus.
wants a stylus?
I do. I love the
Nobody
idea of a
wants a
stylus.
One of the people I work with has a smartphone with a little pop-out stylus.
Is it
And
like
I'm
a
like, why?
why?
What's the point of it now?
Dude, it might just be me, but like recently I'm getting so bad at typing on my phone. I'm like, Google, help me. Just like autocorrect everything for me, please. Like it's so bad.
Some people
I don't even
like
type anymore.
handwriting.
Sometimes I just dictate.
Dictate, yeah,
and
I
then
do that
fix
too.
it later, you know.
What did you just do?
I just close the drawer.
Okay.
See the drawer?
It's got to put the microphone closer to the speaker. Nobody can hear it on the podcast.
So, guys, I think this is episode 1. I think I'm gonna edit this. We haven't decided the background yet. We're just in a green screen right now. We're gonna figure out the
Yeah.
background.
Let's discuss that right now because
Let's do
I
it,
have
okay.
an idea.
All right.
Now, have you guys seen the movie E.T.?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know the scene
With the flashlights.
early in the movie
With the
where the boys
flashlights?
are sitting at the table playing Dungeons and Dragons?
Okay. Yeah.
That kind of feels like the setting that I think would work really good for.
Do you play Dungeons and Dragons?
Yes, I do.
Oh God, I want to, but I don't have time.
I have a collection of dice at home waiting to be played. I used to give you full background. I used to play Dungeons and Dragons every Sunday when I lived back home. I had friends that would come over. We'd order pizza and chicken wings, and we would play for like 6 hours. It was no computers. Everything was pen or paper and pencil and dice and imaginations and sometimes a map on the table. It was the most fun I've had storytelling in my whole life.
I don't have that story, but the most fun I've ever had, I played EverQuest for 10 years. And I was a leader of one of the top guilds in the world. And that was like, I still look back upon that time with really fond memories. Like that was like peak nerd culture for me.
If you get the right group of people to role play with that understand like the group dynamic, understand how to play the character roles and get along with each other. And even sometimes fight, but understand that the fights are for the betterment of the story, right? You can have the most amazing time and come up with some of the most amazing stories with your characters. You know, if you get into a group that there's somebody who has a power, trip in their head, that tends to make things less fun. But I can't look back on any of our Dungeons and Dragons sessions and say that any of them were bad.
Yeah.
Except when we run out of pizza. But
you need to have a good GM though, right? Carl, you're not a gamer.
No. I'm also on the top. Like my sister is big into LARP.
Oh, dude, I've never LARPed, but I really want
And
to.
she dragged me along to a LARP once.
How
Like, you'll
was
love
it?
it. I was just like stood there like frozen because
I wasn't Mingo Mingo.
For those who don't know what LARP
I was
means.
like hi.
So
I
LARP
just
is
don't-
live action role play.
Yeah.
Where instead of playing with dice and whatnot, you are the character. You play in costume.
I really want to do that. I'm not even kidding. I really want to do it. They have this cyberpunk city LARPing experience in the desert in Vegas or something like that. I really want to do that. It just looks super cool. But
the drawback that I had when I was growing up is my parents hated Dungeons and Dragons with a passion.
oh, because of
Satanic
Jesus,
Panic.
Satanic Panic.
because of Jesus.
Jack Chick Tracts.
If I remember
Chick
correctly,
Jacks.
the book about Satanic Panic was based about a story about some kids that went into a cave and one of them went crazy and wound up murdering.
Yeah,
one of
it
his
turns
friends or
out the whole
something.
thing was
And
all
it
bullshit.
completely made up.
They had these videos that cops would watch as like training sessions on the Satanic Panic and shit like that. And it was just all bullshit. None of it was true.
Yep.
All right, let's edit. Oh, wait. So back to the set. What do you want to do? You want to do the Dungeons and Dragons?
So I was thinking like a Dungeons and Dragons table or like that kitchen table kind of setup. If you watch the scene in the movie again, you'll kind of get the idea that I'm kind of talking about.
Actually, I think that's a good idea. Like a late 80s
Yeah,
kitchen.
like kind of, yeah, like
kitchen table setting.
Yeah.
or
I
like
mean, 'cause we-
basement room, kind of like rec room, kind of.
This table can't change, but we can. Everything else we can.
And you can even, I don't know if you can move one of the lights to be kind of like the kitchen light that's hanging over the table.
We can just put one in digitally, and then I can put like a little like Pepsi Cola can from like the 80s. That'd be great. Just like change it every time to a different type of product.
Can we even get one of those designs anymore?
we can get anything online, right?
Tab with an actual pull tab top. No, those were the days.
Oh God! All right, guys, this is Nerd Gas. we're gonna do this every week probably.
Something like that.
We're just gonna fuck around. No, I think the idea here is, like I said at the beginning, is like when if I'm like at home and I'm working by myself, like I just want a friend to like hang out with me, right? And I think that's the idea of this podcast. Like if you're a geek, if you like any nerd stuff, just put us on. And then leave us a comment or something. Subscribe.
Yeah, and
all that YouTube stuff.
And also, if we're going to be putting this in the show, don't take offense to some of the things that we say that might sound negative about your favorite thing, because we don't really hate almost anything. We don't
Yellow
really hate it.
Spandex Wolverine is bullshit. He sucks. I'm kidding.
See, now that
now we're getting canceled.
That's something though you can get mad about. No,
I'm just kidding.
just kidding. I'm a fan of the brown one too. So
Yes.
But no, it's like everybody has passion and love for the different things that they like, and we express that passion and love in different ways. So don't take offense if we make a joke or pick on your favorite thing. If it's not our favorite thing, we don't hate it.
Yeah. Sometimes we're just like devil's advocate, joking around.
Especially you, Carl. Especially you. Especially with when it comes to my private life.
I have no opinions. I'm just a contrarian about everything.
I'm just gonna go against the grain.
Yeah, just because like that's a lot more fun than just saying I agree to everything.
That is true. As Mike said, we're just screwing around. And if we say something that you don't agree with, just leave us a comment. We'll talk about it. Just more stuff to talk about. Yeah, it's a conversation.
It's called engagement.
That's what the algorithm wants you to do.
And also suggestions.
Yeah.
Give us ideas to talk about. You never know what's going to tip us off on a long tangent again, like today.
I still want us to like sit down and watch like Battlestar Galactica or something like.
You like viewing,
like watch along.
Yeah, just like watch it. Like, well, we can't because they don't have what is it called, the law at the
fair use.
They don't have fair use in Japan, so we technically can't upload video of TV shows and movies and stuff like that, even if it's just like a clip, which sucks. So what we'll do is we'll give this to someone in America, and then they'll do
it. Can we just have AI do it? Because AI is copyright washing, right? When you send
dude,
it through the
so
AI,
bad.
and suddenly copyrights doesn't matter
I do
anymore.
this all the time now. I have a photo that I want to use in some like outward facing media, and I just like, hey AI, can you make this slightly different? It's like, yeah, here you are, and it's copyright washed. It's so wrong.
And meanwhile, I'm over here seething with hatred and violence towards AI because I hate it.
I hate AI too, but I totally use it in everything. It sucks.
You're killing the planet, and you're stealing water from poor people.
I mean, it's all gonna blow up, right? Have you guys seen the graphic of like how AI is being funded right now? It's like a circle jerk of money.
Yeah, it's like
pretty much
NVIDIA investing in OpenAI, investing in Microsoft, which
investing
in NVIDIA, and then Oracle is in there somewhere. And Oracle is like about going bankrupt because they have so much debt now for AI investment.
It's just gonna blow up.
If AI kills Oracle, then it did
NVIDIA
something
is pulling
good.
out some of its funding, like several $1 billion of funding for AI. They're basically backing out, or NVIDIA.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Who's the guy on Instagram who does the financial?
I didn't see that. I saw that like OpenAI's like investment in like their purchase order for RAM was fraudulent or something.
Oh, because they didn't have the money?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't look. I just saw the headline. I haven't read into it. Something
like a big percentage of the S&P is just AI bullshit, and so when it blows up,
if it wasn't for like the 7 AI companies, then like the U.S. economy would be in a recession right now, or something like that.
And like the Dow just like passed 50,000.
Yeah.
But it's like you look at that and you're like,
it's such a weak structure. It's going to collapse at some point.
No, we're not. We will probably get into some political things, but like nerd version of politics. Because there's just an election here in Japan, and we got exactly what we wanted.
So that's how elections work.
That's exactly how
everyone gets what they want.
Did we get what we want? I don't know.
That's how democracy works. We're always so happy about it. Anyway, guys, that's going to be the show. So good first episode. Yeah. High fives. I actually have to go to a meeting now. I have to go talk about like human relations. I hate HR stuff. That's why everything should just be AI. It's a lot easier that way. Although ChatGPT does help me with like disciplining staff. I'll be like, hey, I have this problem. Help me word this in a way that's not offensive. It's like, okay, love it. And then he starts like explaining. I'm just saying it's a he, but I hate it when ChatGPT says love it, or that's right, or that's so cool.
You're so right.
Yeah, it's like it's such a circle jerk. Mike's like, fuck AI. You don't use AI at all.
I do not use AI. I hate AI in all
wait, I'm
products.
going to call you out on this. You love Star Wars. And George Lucas, his big thing is droids, which are AI, like kind of sentient beings.
It's science fiction.
You literally
now.
have an R2D2.
Next episode.
He has an R2D2 in his house. We'll talk about it next time. Okay, next time.
Because there's so much I want to say too.
Okay.
We have an hour of content on AI.
Yes. Okay.
I should bring those robots to
You
some
should.
of the episodes.
I have the one you connect with your phone. I don't know if it still works if the battery's dead.
R2D2?
What's the ball one?
C-3PO?
What's the ball one?
BB-8.
BB-8.
Yeah, I have the remote control BB-8 that rolls around.
See, we're just anyway, guys, like and subscribe. We're gonna keep doing this. See you guys. Bye, everybody. Dude, that's like gonna be like a 4-hour time.